Good morning, good evening, everyone, wherever you are in the world. If you could just mute your computers for me, that'd be awesome on arrival. Good morning to people in the UK, good evening, afternoon to those around the world, Australia. If you could just mute for me, that'd be wicked. Seeing some familiar faces, Harry Whitewood, Aaron Hawthorne, how are you, buddy?
Good, mate. Good.
Good
You?
to see you. Yeah, I'm well. For this early rise in the UK. And yeah, we've got quite a lot to turn up. Everyone could just mute for me, that'd be awesome, so that we're not getting any background. You don't have to have your video on. If you want to have it on, cool, you don't have to. But if you could mute for me, that'd be wicked. Guys, in the chat pane, we're going to do a lot in the chat pane today. So if you can just pop in there for me on a scale of 1 to 10, how you feel, all right? So 10 being you're on cloud 9 right now, 1 being it's awful. You're having a shocker. And that might be for those in Melbourne, you might be feeling it. But just pop in, let me know how you're feeling. All right, so on the whole, we've got a positive bunch. We've got a couple of fives. Cricket is back from Daniel. Yeah, I agree with that. Andrew's better for seeing Ben, which is awesome. So we got a mixed bag, but on the whole, we're semi-positive. Recruitment owners usually hover between 7 and 10. We're an optimistic bunch. For those of you in Melbourne in the chat pane, can you just tell me if that affects your number today? Is it a yes or a no? Are you feeling it?
What a feeling.
I think Pete's with us today. I know Pete's not in the best place. Enjoy your last night of freedom, Pete. Guys, we're going to get cracking in a minute. I want to just wait to see if final few people turn up. Who's Pete? Pete Watson is on the ground. He's been helping us with tonight. Going OT tonight. I love it. Well, guys, thanks for taking the time out. If it's your afternoon, your evening, I know I can recognise some people from the UAE, some people in the UK, some people in Dubai, in Australia, of course. So whatever time it is, thank you so much for taking the time out. We've got about an hour. And it'll take about an hour. So the chat pane is here if you want to ask any questions, rather than everyone just shouting out. Just drop me a note in there, and once I see it, if I feel like if I can, I'll stop. If not, I'll wait to the end and I'll answer your questions. All right. So if you can all make sure you're on mute, I'm gonna get cracking, because otherwise we're gonna be a bit slow to the gun. All right. So let me share my screen and bear with me. I run at the moment about 20 Zoom meetings a week for people, and I'm every time I got to share my screen, I pop the wrong things up. So just bear with me a minute. Let me just check. Yes. All right. So today I wanted to talk to you about the HOXO Academy for recruitment leaders. So this is something that we've recently launched. It was early May. We went live with the HOXO Academy, and at the moment we're sat with 90 members, and the response has been incredible from people all over the world. So today we have set this time aside for the Australian market. Anyone who's just not on mute, can you just on mute for me? We've done today for the Australian market, so I want to make sure that we are offering a time for people in that part of the world. Majority of our current members are in the UK and Europe, but we do have some people in Sydney, Melbourne, and some in New Zealand as well as the US and UAE and Central Europe. So we've got a global audience. But to go through the academy, today I want to talk to you about why we've set it up, what the hell it is, what's in it for you, and how you can get started, and just answer any questions you might have that you don't get on, that you can't see online. So firstly, welcome. And how I always wanted to start this, originally this was all about growth. So the HOXO Academy has been planned for about 2 years, but it's just getting around to doing it, right? And growth is a word that I hear from recruitment owners on every conversation, in every meeting, every time I record a podcast. It's probably the most commonality theme that I find in our entrepreneurial industry. And when I was looking at this academy, it was all about how to support business growth, just like my podcast, the RAG podcast. It's all about, it stands for Recruitment Agency Growth. That was kind of the initial plan. And through what we do, the different things that we wanted to help people grow are headcount. So how can we use the skills and the techniques to help people grow their headcount? How can they grow into offices, new locations? How can they move into new sectors, launch new products? How can they grow the quality of their service by reaching more people online? How could they grow their reputation and have a better brand message online? And how can they effectively grow revenue? That's what it all comes down to. Yeah. So initially, we were launching the HOXO Academy in 2020 with growth was going to be the whole narrative. And to some degree, it still is. However, this little puppy turned up in March for all of us. And I remember I actually went to Dubai at the end of January when I first heard about it. And I was like, I guess I just was underestimated what was going to happen. And if you just put in the chat pane, yes or no, if you've listened to my podcast, The Rag, have you ever listened to it? If you have, you'll notice that I did quite a lot of episodes in, well, I do loads of episodes, but I was doing some in February and March time where we were talking about the onset of coronavirus. And yeah, there hasn't been one for a week, Rena. Trust me, I'm shattered. That's why I'll be back. But the reason why I was talking about coronavirus, if you listen to some of my episodes in February, March, I was quite naive about it, if I'm honest. I just didn't really think it was going to be. I thought it'd be like SARS or whatever that had hit Asia before and didn't kind of get across the world. But obviously, it changed everything. It literally in a week. I remember that week in end of March, the world flipped upside down, and for a lot of us, it still is. But this is what I saw in March. And I want to know in the chat pane, yes or no, if you agree with me. The kind of initial reaction from recruitment owners in March was protection mode. It was like, phone suppliers, phone customers, phone candidates, work out what the fuck is going on and what do we need to do to still be alive? Like, it was literally just like, work out what the hell we need to do to protect ourselves. Was that, can you give me a yes or no if that was your attitude in March? Yeah, so you guys are on the same page, all right? So then moving into April, I felt like it was more survival. So we'd got through the initial panic, and then it was, growth wasn't the word. I don't remember anyone talking about making cash really or making like profit. It was just survival. How do we make sure we are still here when this bounce comes? And if you remember in April, everyone was talking about this U-shaped, V-shaped curve, flat curves. There was a global obsession with how we were going to come out of the pandemic. Again, give me a yes or no if you think that was you in April. You moved into more of a survival mode to keep things going. And then I found it changed a bit yeah, exactly, Vicky. Just wanted to break even. We all did. And then moving into May, attack mode. So many people started to get more aggressive again and get a little bit more proactive rather than reactive and think, right, how can I make the best of this situation? And that was really, we launched the Academy at that point. And one of the main reasons why we launched the Academy it was originally just owners and now it's leaders, because to be honest, it's the same audience really, was because most of them, especially in the UK, were furloughing teams. And we had owners that were back on the front line for the first time in a long time. So I had a guy on my podcast who said he just made the first BD call in 5 years because he had 50 staff. And within 3 days, he had four people working because he furloughed everyone else. So I know the scheme in Australia, the job keepers, I think you call it, is different. But if you can give me a yes or no, did you see in May that you were a bit more, back on the tools, trying to work out now a bit more around making money again and spotting the opportunity? Yes or no? And as we're thrown into this digital world, yeah, May was good for a lot of us. I think, interestingly, when you've let go or when you've reduced your headcount cost, it gives us all a bit of breathing space to then figure out what we could do with it. Trent, we didn't give up and kept fighting. That's all we can do, right? As business owners, we've got to keep fighting. We can't give up. And then now, obviously, we're finding ourselves with this second spike in July, and obviously, it's very different where I am compared to Melbourne and Sydney, and who knows? None of us are in control of what's going to happen, but we do know that there is this potential second spike everywhere. That means we are still vulnerable. Let's be honest. We're a little bit vulnerable to what goes on outside of our control, as to whether our customers back on the game in terms of hiring, whether there's opportunity out there. You know, 1 minute we're back in, everything's moving direction, then we get into another lockdown. So the truth is, we know for a fact right now things are better. Things are, I can tell you confidently as a barometer across the market with the amount of customers I talk to, that on the whole, the industry landscape globally is looking better. It's improving, but there's definitely a little bit of fear here that this second spike will come. So this is something else we've seen. I mean, pardon my cheesy grin on there with the Vincere guys, but Zoom has took over the planet and video interviewing. Tell me, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being we were already doing it, 10 being like video is we've completely adopted video. How much have you shifted from a physical to a virtual operation in the way that you operate in terms of candidates, clients, teams, etc.? It's been a pretty monumental shift, right? I think it's probably, we were already doing video for sure, but to think you're doing it all the time is just very different. And I think that we've definitely fast forwarded a number of years here. Probably, I reckon 3 years has just gone bang into 3 months. I think we're all getting a bit of Zoom fatigue. I say that while I'm on a Zoom video, but I don't know about you. I'm not interested in any more Zoom quizzes. I'm not interested in any social Zooms as much as I was. I'm pretty good at getting my daily job done, and then I'll just get the hell off it, if I'm honest. But it's been an ever-changing world, and I have seen that this. I mean, I've been in this market for 3 years, working with recruitment businesses in marketing, and 3.5 years, and I feel like everything I've been saying for 3.5 years is on the fingertips, on the tongue of the industry now. A lot of people are finally realizing that marketing is important when driving sales. We know that traditionally recruitment agencies have seen marketing as a cost center, as a colouring in department. There's a loads of horrible phrases we could use, but reality is they've never been anywhere near as important as the recruitment team. But I believe that's shifting, and I think across the market you've seen people understand that it's important. However, there's a serious global lack of education. Give me a yes or no if you were trained when you started in recruitment in how to produce any form of content that could support you in your efforts. Yes or no? Personally, I mean, it just didn't exist. I was whoever's just muted. I literally didn't exist. I remember marketing would be a department where I worked. They worked hard, but it didn't impact my daily job in any way. So please, whoever's got can you all just check computers? Someone's got their sound on and it's just refurbing. Just have a little look. Okay. You can mute everyone, right? Well, I think they've done it now anyway. That shows my Zoom skills aren't the best, despite being on it 100 times a day. But look, there is a severe lack of education. I think we'd all agree that recruiters around the world haven't been trained. And then this LinkedIn has changed as well, right? LinkedIn, from when I remember, I was still in recruitment in 2016, early 2017, and LinkedIn to me was a place where I found candidates, sent out messages, promoted jobs. That was about it. Right, that was about it. I connected with people, but I didn't really probably value or understand why I was connecting with them. I just knew it was part of my job. However, in the last couple of years, especially the last 3 months, content on LinkedIn has changed. The way the platform works has changed. The way that people interact has fundamentally changed. To me, it feels like Facebook 5 years ago. It's a place where people put out stuff to entertain, to share stories. There's video everywhere, and it's not. It is not just a place to be, quiet and under the bonnet anymore. If you want to get the best out of it. So the biggest question I get asked by recruiters is, where do I start, Sean? Like, I get so many requests and so many people say, I love your stuff on LinkedIn, and I want to do similar, but where do I start? Have you ever felt like this before, where you've gone to produce content or you've said, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put something out there, but I get stage fright. Yes or no? That you're like, oh, not sure what I'll say, not sure what people will think. Give me a yes or no if you've had stage fright before when producing content. If it's made you feel a little bit nervous. In the beginning, yeah. I think, look, everyone's at different levels. I'm I still get it now. I've been doing it every day for 3.5 years, and I still feel at times that, fucking hell, what's going to happen with this one? How much backlash will I get? As well as, you're vulnerable, aren't you? When you put yourself out there, you worry about it's going to be perceived, Steve. Exactly. Like you're vulnerable. So sometimes it's easier just not to do anything and just carry on working as you always worked. But we're in a digital world now, and the tools we were trained that were existed when most of us were trained to start in recruitment, they've evolved. Everything's changed, and just like the way you live your life. 5 years ago, the apps in your phone, most of them didn't exist. Things are just changing at an alarming rate. And if we want our businesses to survive in this new digital world, then we need to go along with it. And stage fright is a real challenge, but it's one that we can overcome. And this is a question I always get asked. Do I need a marketing degree? Do I need to be trained in marketing? Do I need to have some formal background in marketing really and my answer is I don't think you do. I think there's enough information out there. I think there's enough tools at our disposal. I'm a proof of it. I had no marketing degree. I was a recruiter. I was a PE teacher who went traveling to Australia, lived in Melbourne, and got into recruitment. Right. So I had no marketing background, but I did my research. I learned. I trialed. I tested. So the answer for me is no, you don't. But you can learn from other people that have already trodden the path to get there faster. When I kicked this off back in 2017, there was no one really doing this, so I didn't have anyone to learn from. So the academy kind of the reason I've set it up is to tackle those problems. It's to give you that training. It's to get over that stage fright. It's to give you an opportunity to understand LinkedIn, how you can produce content that stands out and effectively win business online. Like get people to come to you as opposed to you, that outbound nature of what you've always done. Let me tell you a little bit about me though. For those of you that do know, I won't go on too long, but I was a school teacher who I worked for Randstad in Melbourne. I joined in May 2011, I think it was. So getting on for 10 years since I went traveling. I look younger every day, which is great. And then I moved to the UK in the summer in the Olympics in 2012, and I joined a startup agency. So I went from Randstad, who we know are one of the biggest in the world, to a 7-person startup, and I worked there for 4.5 years. And I was good. I was their top biller. I was the contract recruiter, and I ran the contract business. So I had about £2.3 million worth of contract revenue that I was responsible for when I left. And I make I'm not hiding the fact that I was launching a recruitment company. My plan was to launch HOXO, which was going to be, it's tattooed on my wrist. It was going to be a recruitment brand that, by the way, if you get into the academy, that's week 4. You've got to get the tattoo, but I thought I'd drop it on you now. But yeah, I was going to launch a recruitment company. It was to do exactly what I'd done. But for some reason, I just didn't feel like I wanted to do it how everyone had done it. And this was 2016. I was looking at my contract and I was thinking, I've got a really strong non-compete clause here that I don't want to break, and I can't break because I don't have the money to fight a court battle. But I was really interested in podcasts. I was really interested in video. I used to watch a lot of YouTube. I used to watch a lot of Instagram stuff, and I used to listen to podcasts. That was the year I got into podcasting. And I just felt like, you know what, I wanted to build a recruitment business that was built on brand, that was built on content. And also I realized there was a loophole that if I produced content on LinkedIn every day, this was before anyone was doing it. There was no video. You couldn't even put a video on LinkedIn back then. I basically thought if I produce video every day, nothing in my contract says they can't watch me talk about my brand. I couldn't ring them directly, but they could watch me. And my vision was that after 6 months, I would pop out of restrictive covenant. Everyone's going to know HOXO, and it'll be easy to win the clients back. That was the vision. HOXO came from, long story, I wanted a business that was one word, a made-up word. That was what Venquis was, where I used to work. And after buying every domain I could think of, we came up with Noxo, N-O-X-O, which was the one. We bought it. We told our friends about it. We got dead excited about it. And my brother Googled it and found in the Urban Dictionary that a noxo is a homosexual mammal. And I thought, that's probably not, I'm not homophobic in any way, but it's probably not the start I want with clients. So we changed it to HOXO. So that I don't really, it was a long process of about 6 months of writing words down. It's got no relation to Hoxton in Shoreditch, which everyone seems to think it does. But anyway, so after, this was me at Venquist. This was me in my recruitment days when my hair wasn't as great. It was still pretty bad. And then I launched HOXO Media in March 2017 with this vision that I went to find a marketing agency that could help me build this brand that I wanted to build. I went and met some that did generic stuff into all sectors. I met some recruitment specific people, and I was a little bit underwhelmed, to be honest. I just didn't see, all they were talking about was blog writing and getting the website right. And I was like, this is all a bit dull. I wanted to be on YouTube, on podcasts, making video. Like, I wanted to do all these different things. So this guy with the glasses on was a friend I grew up with who said he worked in a tech company doing some of that stuff. And he was like, I'll help you out. So he came in as a freelancer at the beginning with me and my business partner. Look, we didn't even own a laptop. I just had an iPad in a coffee shop in London. And my initial thought was, what he was going to do for me, HOXO, I was going to launch a second brand called HOXO Media, which would be a side income effectively, because I spoke to like 4 other recruitment owners who said, look, we'll buy it. Like, sounds great. What are you going to do? So I already had revenue coming in from day one. So the HOXO Media was the second brand under the HOXO group. Anyway, we never started HOXO because the business just took off. We signed so many clients so fast. And it was clear even then, 3 years ago, that there was a small percentage of owners that were interested in this stuff. I don't think they understood it as much as they do now, but they were definitely interested. And we wrote down this vision. We had a vision to help connect marketing and recruitment teams across agencies globally, like where there's that disconnect. We wanted to solve that problem. But I'd never worked in marketing before, ever. And I'd never worked in an agency. I'd never worked in-house. I'd never done marketing from a recruitment business. I just never done it. So when I told my bosses, when I told people, they were just laughing at me. They were like, Sean, you're like a £700,000 biller. Why the fuck are you going to go and become a marketing guy? But I felt like the industry I could actually impact the industry. That was what I was excited about. So I had no reason to do it, but I did. I had no data. I didn't have a single connection that was a recruiter outside of the people I worked with. But I fancied that if I put together a strategy and I invested in it, I could build a brand and a name for myself. So I wanted to show you something here that you've probably never seen. This is the first video I ever made online. And it took me about 4 weeks of launching HOXO to actually pluck up the courage. So I'm pretty confident on video, but I wasn't back then. So if I take you here, I'll show you this. For some reason, it tends to play with a... I don't know why. I always have to refresh that. So this is the office I was in. It was a shared office, and I stood on the balcony and took about 4 hours to do it. But this was the first video I ever did.
Hi all, hope you're well. As you know, I've been banging on for the last month or so about a new venture. Well, I'm proud to say I can finally talk about it, which is great. So I want to say thanks to all of my insurance and recruitment contacts. Spent the last 5 years recruiting into the insurance market, and it's been an unbelievable journey. I've now decided to leave that and launch my own business, which is known as HOXO Media, a completely recruitment dedicated social media agency. So take a look at www.hoxomedia.com. And please follow, like, share, comment, give us your feedback, and tell all your friends about it. All support is welcome, and we'll keep posted.
See, that was awful. And if you look at this, I was in a shared office space in London Bridge, and this was the atrium where I sat. That little bit of glass where my mouse is, that was actually my office space. I wasn't allowed to film in there. Then I tried to film here downstairs. They wouldn't let me film there. So I had to stand on this ledge outside of a lift that kept opening full of people. And it was just so nerve-wracking. But I did it, and that was the first video I put out. And that was it then. After that, I managed to, I basically managed to look up the confidence to do it every day. And I think I've posted every single working day, bar a few, since then. So it's actually over 3 years later. This was put together a couple of months ago. And now, from investing daily, small, consistent efforts, we've worked out in the last few months, I'm averaging about 600,000 views a month across all content platforms, which is, I'm really proud of, and it has a huge impact on the business. We actually hit 15,500 this month, but that was a month or so ago. We'd hit 14,000 downloads on the podcast in the 30 days. So We know that we get a lot of engagement in Australia and in the Far East, which is great. And that's enabled us to sign. We've currently got over 50 clients globally. We're managing their brand that I think I'd say over 47, 48 came to us. Like we're not cold calling. We're not picking up the phone. We're not chasing clients. We're using the techniques that we're helping you guys do. And that drives inbound leads every single day without fail. And we've captured we've quoted it about £2.5 million that we can track back since we started purely to inbound. The last 2 years, I think it's 100% inbound. The first year was obviously we had to do everything we had to do. And honestly, the reason I'm telling you that is I think whilst HOXO has been we've done a lot of company page content, my personal brand has been the actual like thing that's driven that. My consistency has been the number one effort that's enabled us to get there. So what I've done for this course is I've sat there and I've broken it down. I've gone, what have I done, and how could I help other people get there? So I stuck to a process, right? The first thing is that I wrote down a couple of things I wanted to do every day, from the amount of people I wanted to connect with, how I wanted to engage with them, to the amount of posts I wanted to produce and the type of posts I wanted to produce. And I stuck to it. I was quite methodical in my approach. I constantly tested, evolved, and pivoted. So I worked out what didn't work. I worked out what did work. And I've always been consistent. I think that's always been what I was good at in recruitment, was just consistency, just outworking people. So I've managed to do that on LinkedIn, I believe. And I documented the journey. So if you look back at our YouTube channel, if you look back at the stuff we've put out on the website, on LinkedIn, we've opened up, rather than constantly creating content and coming up with funny ideas. I know there's other people in our market doing similar things to me, and they're really funny and they come up with these amazing videos. That's not been my style. My style has been all about documentation, because I think the time it can take you to sit and plan and create something wonderfully beautiful, I could have just documented a conversation I had and released it. And I've documented the journey, which has meant people have bought into our journey, and as a result, we've worked together. But most importantly, when I sat down and I worked it out, I was like, what has been that one ingredient that I think has made me successful online? It's been, I've always had a clear audience focus. For the amount of recruitment owners I see on LinkedIn that, firstly, their LinkedIn profile doesn't even tell me what they do. Like, it tells me they own a recruitment business, but I haven't really got a clear idea straight away, like instantly, of the type of people they work with. It's too generic. Unless they are generic. I know some really, really niche recruiters, but their LinkedIn doesn't say that. And when they produce content, when they actually get round to it, I've got no idea who they've produced it for. Like, it's just completely internally focused. So it's like, look at me, look at us. We've promoted these people. We've opened an office. We. The truth is, people care about themselves more than they care about you. That's the fact. People are the movie star in their own lives. You know, they're looking for things online that trigger their own emotion. And there's two things that get us to engage on LinkedIn and online in general, is pain and ambition. So if I've got ambition to achieve something and you're telling me how I can get there, I'm going to engage. If I've got a problem that's causing me an issue in my business and you've got some solutions, I'm going to engage. Outside of all the fun stuff, they're the two levers that you can pull that are going to get me to start paying attention. And when you talk about promotion and talk about our team and how great we are and our values, you're not appealing to people. Like, no one sat there today going, I really wish I could find a recruitment company with ambition. Like, I'd just love to find one. Like, no one gives a shit. That's the truth. They care about their own problem in their own life, in their own business, and they want to see, well, they will only really take notice if you're demonstrating that you can solve that problem or you can support them. So I've always had you guys in my mind, and what I call progressive recruitment owners. Progressive are the people that you're on this call. Some of you at 8 a.m. in the UK, 5 p.m. when you could be doing other things, because you're open to the fact that the future's changing. And despite your successes, because you're all successful people, you know the future's, you're aware that in the future things are going to be different, and you want to be equipped for that. There's plenty. Look, for everyone on this course, on this call, there's hundreds, thousands that are just burying their head in the sand and reliant on the phone calls. And that's cool. And I think their job's going to get harder and harder and harder. But I've only cared about progressive recruitment owners, the people that take notice, the people that are interested in the future. And for me, that's given me a really clear landscape. When I'm producing content, I know exactly who I'm talking to. I know exactly what they're going through. I know the pain points, I know the ambitions. It just makes life so much easier. So that is the one ingredient that I'm going to get you when you work with me to understand and to really start focusing on. How much do you position yourself as a supporting guide to your audience as opposed to being the me show? And that's what I want to do. So now's your turn. So upon joining me for the next 12 weeks, I'm going to work with you to learn and start to put into practice the things I've done in your own way, of course, but I'm going to give you a methodology and it's your turn to apply it. I want to start by letting you know this ain't easy. There's a reason why, you can probably count on one hand the amount of people you see producing great stuff on LinkedIn in your network. It's because they give up. The truth is, I've seen so many people do great one-off things and they give up. They don't see immediate success. So they think, oh, sod that, I'll do something else. And consistency is key. So by working with me for 12 weeks, there's a level of consistency you'll develop that you can take forward. And you're going to have ups and downs. Take yourself back to when you started in recruitment. In the chat pane, just give me how many years it was when you started in recruitment. For me, it was what, nine, nearly 10 years ago. Tell me how many years ago it was when you started. Let's have a look. All right, so we got 1,400 years, Andrew. Bloody hell, you're looking good, mate. But look, we've got a really solid, 10 plus years background there. And that then means that you've got, if you can, try and cast your minds back to when you started. Yeah, Tom, I get that. So if I go back here, you've got this up and down wave, right? So some days on my course, you're going to do something and you're going to go, fucking hell, that was good. That was easy. I've had people message me going, Sean, why haven't I been doing this for longer? Like, it's so bloody simple what you've asked me to do. I had an email of a guy on Friday and he said, Sean, I'm an independent owner. I was nervous about taking part in this course. He's only on week 4. And he said, from the first interactions, I've just booked a Zoom call with the CEO of an insurance company. He goes, it was bloody simple. I can't believe I've not done this earlier. Thank you. And I was like, wicked. But I can guarantee the same guy will have another week where he probably puts more effort into something, does a load of work, and then realizes that was that didn't really go very far. That didn't get a load of engagement. I didn't get a direct result off that. And that can sometimes be a bit of a bummer. Remember when you started in recruitment, you had days where you get hold of a candidate. I remember I placed someone in Melbourne in the first 6 weeks that I didn't do it. I found the candidate. It was like one of the first calls I ever made. And I was like, this job's well easy. And then I think I went on about 7 months without getting an interview. God knows why they kept me around. I just probably spoke too much. But then you have them days where it's not as easy. And then you have the days here where it all goes to shit, where the candidate drops out last minute, where lockdown in Melbourne hits you again. And in my world, it's where, you might put something out there and it doesn't get any engagement. Or you might even get a dick who writes on your post and gives you a bit of a negativity. Like one of my ladies put something up this week and within a second someone wrote, there's a typo in your subtitles on the 3rd page or something. It's like, and she instantly messaged me going, what do I reply to that? I was like, well, take it on the chin. You've got a typo in. Who gives a shit? Like, the fact is you're putting stuff out there. That keyboard warrior's not. So yeah, you do get stuff. But the point is, just like in recruitment, when you get that bad call or someone drops out or whatever, you have to keep coming back. That's the key. You got to pick yourself up. You got to go again. You got to go again. You got to go again because consistency wins. In the chat pane, let me know yes or no. Have you ever read the book, The Compound Effect? Has anyone read the book, Compound Effect? All right. If you haven't, go and find that book. Whether you work with me or not, it's the best book I ever read that explained why. 1, why I was going to be good at recruitment, and 2, why I'm able to do what I'm doing now. It's all about the small marginal gains that you can win from doing small bite-sized chunks daily, as opposed to trying to do everything. Like, you know, in a fitness environment, you could go and pay them £1,000 an hour for a celebrity personal trainer, have a great session, be knackered, but you look in the mirror, you ain't gonna look any different. And it's the same here. You can do one great video, but you're not gonna be any different. It's the consistency that wins. It's the versus intensity. You can't keep up intensity, but you can keep up consistency. So I'm going to teach you how to do small things daily, all the habits that are going to give you the win long term. And the way that we do it, we follow a basic game plan. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to get you to do is define your target audience. So understand who specifically you are talking to on LinkedIn. And that, for some people, that's really easy. For some others, it's a bit of a challenge. I have to really get under the bonnet of your business and help you prioritize. But I'll ask you a question. If you could fill a room with a certain type of person in your market, whether it's a type of client, type of candidate, that's going to have the most value to your business today, tomorrow, the future, who would it be? And you can think about that question now. If you're going to fill a room with one type of person or a group of people that would have the most impact on your business, David Bowie, yeah, of course, who would it be? Because once you've done that, you can start to think, right, that's who I'm going to talk to, because that's going to have the most value. Then we're going to move into self-generated content, right? So I'm going to teach you how you can create content every day on the fly without anyone involved. So how you can produce written content, image content, video content, and the style, the different types of content you can produce that are going to help you get engagement. So there's this theory behind, I break it into 3 pillars, and within that there's 7 types of content, and I'll teach you about that once you know the intent of the post, it's so much easier to produce content. You just have to think intent first. So if I'm intending to entertain you or intending to inspire you, there's a different way of putting a post together, and I'll teach you all that. Then as we move into the second month, once you've got your head around, you're producing your own stuff and you're building your audience, we're then going to look at user-generated content. So user-generated content is how do we leverage other SMEs and people in our marketplace? How do we create content with our market as opposed to for the market? Because the reason the RAG podcast is done so well is because every single time I post it, I'm leveraging someone else's experience. I'm taking the words, the experience of somebody who's an expert in the market, and I'm using those words associating to me. And they're also sharing and promoting it. So every day I'm getting user-generated content out that allows it to climb so much faster, so much further in places I couldn't reach myself. Then we move into planning. And I think once you get the hang of producing content daily, putting a really clever plan together is what makes all the difference. Knowing, I call it the content engine. What is the amount of content you need to produce in a week to be successful? And how do you do it so that you plan the time you put into creating it and posting it so that it doesn't impact the rest of your job and your life, but it does have the maximum impact online? And then finally, how do we turn that into what I call inbound sales, inbound pipeline? So you can start to see that all of this work you're doing is actually generating sales conversation, which is the most important thing, right? You get in the back of it. And I've had so many clients in the first few groups that have put business amazingly. And they can track it back to the posts they've produced. It's a method. It's a methodology. So it's 12 weeks. Each week is going to be like this. You'll be in a group of 15 and you'll be with me, and I'll be taking you through a lesson on a specific topic. So target audience, LinkedIn optimization, activity, content, all sorts, all the way through to future planning and making sure that when you leave the course, you've got all the expertise to run with it yourself. And each week you get to know each other. You'll build a really good relationship with the other people in the group. We have an absolute laugh every week. But there's always a different topic, and I'm breaking the work down into bite-sized chunks. So you're not going to be overwhelmed after each session with the amount of work to do that week. You're going to have a week to complete some homework every week. But if I could throw it all at you today, but you'll just get overwhelmed and turn it off. I want to make it bite-sized and chunk and manageable. So each week, different topic, different work. But by the end of it, you'll have a complete skill set that you can take forward. So your weekly slot. So at the moment, this would be group 7. We've got 6 groups live today. So the next group is going to be 8 a.m. UK time or 5 p.m. Australian Eastern time on Thursdays, starting on, I think it's the 23rd of this month. So it'll be the same every week. Once you commit, you sign up, you get all the diary invites come out, and it won't change. So you'll know every week That's the time slot. I've made it so early in the UK because of the Australian audience focus for this session. So when you sign up, what we're giving you is access to a number of things. So firstly, you get access to the HOXO Academy portal. So if I show you here, this is the Academy. So in each week, you can see here, you click, you've got all the work there. When you scroll, everything's there, all the work's there for you. And you get, so everything you learn on the session with me will be in the portal, so you can go at your own pace. And then also you get access to the Facebook group. So at the moment, we've got 83 members in here, and every day people are producing content, sharing it, sharing wins, etc. And you get access to this so that you can then put your content in there, learn from everybody else, get loads of feedback. And actually, it's a really good group for support. It's how I communicate with you guys ongoing as well, because I can't have one-on-one calls with everyone in the group, but I will be on there every day, and so will my team, replying to your questions. I don't know how I get around so many people. But I manage it somehow. Question from Ben. Can you say any more about what automating the process covers? Yeah, so automating the process is about using things like email automation, calendar automation, to specifically book in and engage with your customers and your target audience to be able to produce the content, and not spend hours going back and forward. I don't actually recommend like LinkedIn automated bots. I think they serve a purpose. If you want to use them, use them. I'm not going to recommend them because they do get blocked, and I don't think it's worth the risk. Also, I don't use things like Hootsuite and Buffer for scheduling content, because you can't at and tag people. Half the battle when you're posting on LinkedIn is the copy you write and the ability to tag other people. You can't do that. So there's certain things I will teach you to automate, and there's certain things I won't teach you to automate. But it's about how do you save your time, engage customers, build subscriber lists. Yes, images. Every session's recorded and it'll be emailed out to you within 24 hours. Also, I've pre-recorded every session as well in the Academy. So when you sign up, you'll see all the lessons there. You can go in and watch anyway. So you'll have 2 versions of every session that you can watch back. And then each session's an hour. So 45 to 50 minutes of me talking, and then 10, 15 minutes of us chatting, Q&A, having a laugh, sharing stories, ideas. What I would say is the Academy as well is only 3 months old. So we are, as a business, investing in new content ideas, new technologies. Everything that we're doing in the background is going to then keep being implemented into the Academy. So even if you sign up today, you work with me for 3 months, you're going to have lifetime access to that content, and it's going to keep improving. So, and you'll be on an email loop that says, guys, we just uploaded this to the portal. You're always going to get it for one-off cost. So the value is huge. Your commitment. So one weekly call. Again, if you can't make it, and all I ask is let me know in advance. But to be honest, most people turn up. I've got a little register like the old school teacher I was. So if you turn up to 3 sessions and tell me you didn't get much from it, I'll know. Well, you're not putting the effort in. But it's effectively, look, I'm not gonna chase you. If you don't turn up, let me know. The work's there. I'll email it out. But it's your opportunity every week to work with me, get to know the team, the group that you're in, and share ideas. And actually, we have a great time. I absolutely love the sessions. I ask you to complete your homework, do the work. I mean, it's not massive amounts of work. If you put 30 minutes a day, you'll easily do the work that I've asked you to do. But we're all busy, so you've got to get it done. Follow a process is a big one. Like as an owner or leader in a recruitment business, you're typically responsible for process. You're the sort of person people look up to. And I'm asking you to do something where you have to follow my process and listen to me. Could be a bit alien, be a bit awkward, but I'm asking you for this course, just put your mindset aside and follow what I'm asking you, because it's pretty. And then ask for support. Finally, we're always here in the Facebook Academy group. Drop me a DM, send at me in a message, and we'll always come back to you. So, and ask the group for support, because people are sharing loads of ideas in there. It's a really, really good community. What can you expect? These are the 3 things I'd say guaranteed. So you're going to get LinkedIn growth. You're going to learn how to grow your connections, your profile views, your engagement, and your inbound DMs. They're the things that we're going to track them every week, and they're going to go up. You're going to get more knowledge on who and how to focus on engaging people. You're going to feel confident and excited about your future online. But from the group, I mean, the success stories I've had are incredible. The wins that we've had so far are people of, one guy 2 weeks ago got 2 exclusive 100K salary jobs called in, because the guy said, I see you everywhere on LinkedIn. You've somehow hacked my LinkedIn profile because I see you every day. Another guy got emailed in a retainer for a global sales director role from a client he'd never heard of, that again, they'd seen he was hosting roundtables, producing video. They were like, you are the type of person we want to fill this job. A woman found, one of the candidates responded to a bit of video that was picked up by LinkedIn News. She placed someone £14,000 fee off the back of that. Across the board, new clients, new candidates, hosts of meetings and engagements. It's just, it works. And if you look here, so when I put this post up on LinkedIn the other day, like you can go and look at some of the people. So this guy's he's an Australian recruiter, he's British in Oz, who's been working with me in the first group, Paddy Delaney. I don't know if any of you know him in Sydney. And when I started working with him, he'd not produced anything really. And now, I mean, he's producing content like this that I've taught him.
So it's really, I actually am really excited about
He's launched a new podcast. He's got audiograms going. He's got video content being produced. He's writing articles. He's making user-generated content with guests on his podcast. He's winning business in the construction industry. He's leveraging SMEs. He got 35,000 views on a post last week. He's loving it, and he's doing he's just taking to it really well. If you look at this under here, when I posted about coming to Australia, I was overwhelmed by the people in the group. So Andrew Gibson, who suffered massively with mental health in the past, he's now built a mental health round table off the back of the process, and he's generating leads. Ruella in the UK is winning business. David St. Martin, he's only been he's in the latest group. He's enjoying every week. David Lawrence is another recruiter who's took to it. He's building his brand. His content's awesome. Paddy, there you go, look, winning results. Simon, this guy got 3 jobs called in a day from 3 strangers, all HR directors. Really impressed. Philippa, she recruits into the luxury space. So she does things with like private yachts and jets. She's got an amazing market that you wouldn't have known about looking at her LinkedIn profile at the beginning. But, you know, she's winning clients, making money in lockdown in a tough market. And yeah, so there's a few testimonials. But if you wanted to speak to anyone as well, I can easily, well, my team can easily put you in touch with people that would be happy to share how they've found the experience. So the next academy, as I mentioned, it starts on the 23rd at 8 a.m. We're going to have 15 spots. I think we've sold 2 or 3 already. So there's about 12 spots left. You don't have to be in Australia, but we've made the time for the Australian audience. So that's 5 p.m. Eastern Australian time. The price for the UK traditionally is $1,500, and for the Australian market is $2,500. Anyone who's on this taster, we're doing a discount. So if you're on this taster, you're in the UK, you'll get it for $1,250, and you'll in Australia get it for $22.50. The exchange rates, I think it's $1.8 to the pound right now. So that's exclusive. If you're on this taster, we've got your details, we'll know you're on this call and you registered for this call, you'll get the discount. So what do you need to do? So if we've actually taken away the application on the website, we found it was a bit of a blocker. So you don't even have to do that now. But if you go to the HOXO website, I'll just send you the link in the chat pane now. If you go in there, you can watch the video, follow the steps. But if you just click apply now, then you fill in your information. That will automatically trigger my sales team to reach out, and we'll pick up the phone and we'll have a chat about you. So we want to have in the next 48 hours, we'll have 30 minutes maximum with you to understand you. We don't accept everyone. So of the 90 that have signed up so far, I think we've had over 200 applications. There's about 40% of people that apply get in, and some turn around, it's not for them, but majority is we don't believe that they're going to put the effort in. So we only want people that are going to, work at this and want to get the results, because, it's a results focused project. But it won't take long at all. if you're successful, if you're happy, then we'll get you signed up. You'll receive your course login, so you'll get access to the portal. You'll get all links to book onto the onboarding call, and then you'll start with me on Thursday the 23rd, and it'll be a week, every week for 12 weeks. I'll be giving you homework and working with you. Okay, so that's it. Have we got any questions? Has anyone sat there with anything burning that I've not covered or thinking, yeah? So how long over the hour with me? So I'd say if you've got 30 minutes aside per day, 30 minutes a day, I'd say would be realistic.
Daddy.
If you block it out into a couple of hours a week.
Does Mummy know you're here?
2.5, 3 hours a week, I think that would work.
Look at Daddy.
Compound
Daddy,
effect.
this?
I don't know who the author
Daddy?
is. I'll have a look for you now.
She actually doesn't know.
Darren Hardy, the book's by. Darren Hardy.
Do you want to call her just to tell her?
That's who the book's by. Any other questions, guys? Even if you, so in my opinion, what's more important? Personal brand or how well they market it? Well, it's kind of, you don't have a brand unless you market it, in my opinion. You might have a brand offline, but you don't have it's how you market your brand that builds the brand. I think every single one of you have got a personal brand now, but that's probably limited to the people that know you from the work you've done. So our job is to take that and amplify it. So when you're getting, tens of thousands of views a month online, I think you have to be authentic, 100%. I think, I think gone are the days where you have to be this super uber professional recruiter that doesn't necessarily open up about yourself. You need to be someone that's prepared to share a little bit. And, you never get to be the top billing recruiter by just talking shop. So online, you've got to be able to open up, and I'll teach you how to put, personal content together, valuable content together, incredible content. They're the 3 pillars that I follow. What else we got there? In terms of content, Sean, what have you found the most engaging for recruiters? Depends. I'd say written content right now, written posts get the most engagement, tend to get the most views. But video content and audio content tends to build better relationships online. So if someone's listening and watching you, they tend to build a much better relationship with you than just by seeing a written post. I don't know about you. I've seen some people online on LinkedIn that are really good at writing stuff, and they get great engagement, and they've got an opinion. There's a guy in Australia, David Wolstenholme, I think his name is, who does personal brand stuff, and I think he's got such an amazing written style. I love his stuff, but I haven't got a clue what he sounds like. I don't know what he looks like. I haven't got any relationship with him on LinkedIn because I don't get a connection to him yet. So for me, yeah, he's a mank in Sydney, I think. But I don't know that because I've never heard his voice. I've never seen him. And I think that's a big one. You can have a great brand from written content, but I think you break into the personal relationships by opening a bit more about yourself. There's courses for leaders in a recruitment company. So we are launching a consultant level course. It's going to be slightly different. This one is more aimed at your director level to ownership. It's not for a company brand. It's for a personal brand. I'm teaching you how to work on your own brand, not how to build your company page. There'll be things you can do off the back of this that can be passed across to the company page for sure. But the aim of this project is specifically for your personal brand. Because your personal brand, let's be honest, people buy from people. I don't think there's a single recruitment company on the planet that's got an amazing company page on LinkedIn. The reason is people's company pages tend to be too internally focused. Look at us, we're growing, we're promoting. They tend to send links to things externally. So they put articles to things, links to articles, links to their website. LinkedIn know when you're trying to take people off the platform. As soon as you put an external link in the body copy of your message on LinkedIn, you've already killed the post. Because LinkedIn go, well, we're not even going to show people this because it's going to take people off the platform. We spend billions to keep people on the platform. So if you ever look at my content, there's a reason I always put my external links in the comments. It's because LinkedIn doesn't damage the views. And people on company pages tend to just share their website all day, and it's just nonsense. So if you can build your personal brand, you can then leverage a lot of that back. You can drive a lot of traffic back to your company, but it's still going to have the same effect. If you're a leader, it's going to have the same effect, which is what it's all about. Anyone else got any questions before we get on with the day, or you get on with your evening? Yeah, I think Jason, you've nailed it there. Like, a lot of people don't think enough about. I think, let's be honest, we're in a digital world now. If you weren't thinking about this 3 months ago, you're going to have to think about this in 3 months' time, because the world is going, we can't get in front of our customers anymore like we did. And people won't want to get in front of their customers, even when the world goes back to normal. How many of you are enjoying the fact you don't have to sit on a train? How many are enjoying the fact you can spend more time at home? Like, that's going to only get more aggressive now. HOXO, we're hiring talent across the UK now and internationally, because we don't have to have them in an office anymore. It's opened up the door. So by building a brand online, by building video engagement processes, you're going to be able to do a hell of a lot more with less time, less travel. It's the way the market's going. Guys, I'll put that link in here again. If you can if you're interested, get on there ASAP so we can get you booked in. But thanks so much for taking the time. As I'm UK based, we're better to wait for the next one, Matt. It's really up to you, mate. The next one will be probably 2 or 3 weeks after, and it'll be in the afternoon on the Thursday, about 1 o'clock. So if that suits you better, wait. But I think 8 o'clock's a good time. It gets it all done before the day starts, right? If you're an early riser. Liz, thank you for joining. It's great. You've always been a supporter of mine, so I appreciate it. I see your comments every day. Keep it up. Appreciate you listening. And guys, thank you for taking the time. Thanks for engagement. I hope I get to work with you. Even if I don't, drop me a connection on LinkedIn if we're not connected, and I'll keep an eye out for what you're doing, because look, my whole business is making sure you guys succeed. That's what it's all about. All right. Have a good one. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves. See you later.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one.
See you in a bit. Take care.